Hi Eric. How have the team recovered from yesterday, and is there anyone back? You expect anyone back for Sunday?
I can't say in this moment. We're working on to bring players back. We have seen yesterday Alicia Martinez. He had a good session now as well. There were also others on the pitch, like Rafa Varane, Victor Lindelof. They returned on the pitch, and yeah, we have to see how far they are, how far they are on Sunday. Tomorrow we have off. Saturday we have a training, and then we will see what we have.
You've obviously got the FA Cup looming large, and before that, the England squad announcements made on Tuesday. We've not seen Harry Maguire for a while. We've not seen Luke Shaw for even longer. What's the situation there? Are they going to be available for the Cup final? Are they going to be available for England at the Euros?
For England, I can't say. It's not up to me. But for the cup final, we're working on. And I think Harry Maguire, I think it's a fair chance that he will be available. We plan him. Luke is more complicated. That is, in this moment, I don't think it's, let's say, it's a less chance that he will make it. But there is still a very small, reduced chance.
Are you able to elaborate on the setback? You're able to elaborate on the setback that you said he had recently?
Yeah, he had the setback, and now we have to find out how far he is.
Eric, the last two games, have Sofian Amrabat and Ahmad given you a selection problem for the FA Cup final? Because they've come from nowhere and both produced two really good performances.
It's internal competition, and I think they perform well first. I think their progressing across the season is very good from both, and now they deserve the chance. They took the chance, and yeah, that's a luxury problem, which is good, and that is actually what I need, what I was waiting for so long. Actually, I was waiting for a whole season. Such a luxury problem, and we need a squad to win both games.
Yesterday, Wolves released a statement about VAR saying they want to scrap it, and the Premier League are obviously going to vote on it. What is your view? Can you see a world without VAR, or do you think we're stuck with it and we've just got to try and make it better?
I don't think there is a way back, and so in principle it makes the football more fair. But there are some problems, and I think we have to find solutions for those problems. So we have to make improvements.
Hi, you mentioned the amount of potential you see in the squad. I wonder, going forward, especially in the summer, what do you think you need to change or add for the squad to reach that potential?
I know I have this in my back head, and my focus is we have 10 days, two very important games. So now the focus is on the two games.
Wayne Rooney was quite critical yesterday after the game about the squad in general, saying there needs to be an overhaul, you need to build around Bruno and the young players. Do you think that's quite unfair, especially considering the injuries you've had?
As I say, I look at the two games. That's important, and other issues will only distract us. We know what we are building on, and we have to keep this process going. But at the same time, we have to win games, and two very important games. And so all the focus, for me, from the team, has to be on those two games.
Eric, what do you make of Brighton specifically, and how important is a big finish to this Premier League campaign, especially in advance of this FA Cup final?
Most important is our game, and of course, again, it's a typical style of play. Brighton, I admired the way they approach the game, and it's a real challenge. So we're really looking forward. But it's up to us. It's up to us to get the right plan, to get the right execution. So to prepare the team in the best way we can, and then it's about the players to get the win.
No doubt about it, an up and down campaign for yourselves. What lessons have you specifically learned about yourself during this campaign?
I think also that I don't go into a reflection in this moment. My focus is, and that is the main, I win those 2 games. And I think that is all the energy I have now has to be in those 2 games.
Neil.
Eric, was the last 2 games, I know they lost against Arsenal, but still the performance was there. Did it give you, or did it show the belief that the players are still playing for you? Because often when there's a run of bad results, they say, oh, he's not playing for the manager, but that was an example that they were.
There was only one very poor performance, and so all the others, there was always a very good spirit. I would also almost say across the season, across all the problems we had, and I don't think I have to sum them up again, but we have had them. But the spirit in the team, the fighting spirit was always there. The dynamic was always there, and I think we had also some good performances, even when the best players were not available. And sometimes, but you know, when all the best players are not available and you have to change so many things, the patterns are not there, and the routines are not there. Now lately, in the last 2 games, we are returning some players, players who progressed very well, came in the team, and the performance, as you say, we are good in the last 2 games.
And do you think it'll have been a good sort of learning curve in a way for some of the younger players? I mean, 3 of them, each of them scored against Newcastle, and it's been a tough season, but do you think that'll make them strong, having to sort of help out when maybe they might not otherwise have played?
Absolutely. So confidence is a great thing, and in this season we almost didn't get the turning point where you say, hey, now we can make a step through. I remember the Arsenal game where we played very good, and in the 87th minute I thought we win the game with the goal from Garnacho, and that could have given a big lift to the team, and with those belief and confidence, you build on in next games. But we never got this. But a game like yesterday, of course, this will help, and especially young players. And there were 3 very young players on the scoring list. It will give them a lot of confidence and belief going into the next game and games.
Time. Hi, Eric. We saw Marcus Rashford have a bit of a confrontation with a supporter yesterday before the game. The clip's been seen everywhere now. I'm just wondering if you can elaborate on what happened and how you think Marcus reacted. Was it fair enough for what was said? Do you want players to not react in that situation?
I have seen yesterday, I felt yesterday, there were 68,000 fans. So 3,000 fans from Newcastle. Maybe they were negative, they were disappointed, but the 68,000 fans, they were all very enthusiastic. They were very positive about the mood and the spirit and the vibe, the ambience in the stadium. So, which is very good, and what shows the strong bond we have between the team and the fans.
Carl.
Mr. Ten Hag, several weeks ago you said you had an idea what was behind all of the injuries this season. Do you have any further information or development on that idea that you can share with us?
No, I know, but I don't share this. It's not for now. It's also not important because we can't change this. The coming 10 days, it's about those 2 games.
The things that you can change would be for the future, and you intend to change things for the future?
That is for the future, and that is for across the summer, and not for now.
During pre-season, you said you were going to turn Manchester United into the best transition team in the world. Is that still your ambition?
I think we have players in our squad And I mean in the transition, the attacking transition, we can play very good transitional football. And I think we showed on many occasions that we did this, that we are very quick, direct game, and we can set this up and we can take a lot of benefit from it. And I think we have seen those patterns across the season.
But the defensive?
But I meant attacking transition. That is what I said.
Throughout the season, the ambition was attacking transition.
That is what I said. But of course, also other things, you have to be on top level, possession stuff, and that you keep the ball. And also, of course, defending. If you want to win games, it starts always. That is the foundation from every win is a good defense.
Make sure you tune into Matchday Live for all.
Big up, everybody. That's been the manager's press conference, part 1, ahead of the tie against Brighton. Guys, what are you thinking? What are you thinking? Big up to you, my brother GB. Hope you are well. You know, it's going to be a Caribbean weekend for me. I'm going to do some Caribbean cooking. I hope you're enjoying your doubles and maybe some, curry along the way. I got my buddy Drexy, my partner in crime is always here. Big up to my brother. What's good? Big up to you, Mental Ball Game. We can't forget you. Not if you could join us if you want to. The link is pinned, guys. You can come in and have your say. Let's hear what Drex thinks about the manager's press conference so far. Big up, bro.
Yeah, we're live here at whatever park it is. I don't know, but yeah, big up everybody. Yeah, big up everybody. Big up GB. It's a pretty straightforward question. Like it's a good. Some of the questions were good. We already know that some of these guys they like to poke just to get headlines. We ascertained that fact yesterday. Today looking at hearing the manager talk. See, so the manager they said during the season or the first part or in the season early in the season he said he was going to make United one of that's I took that one personal, right? He was going to make United one of the best transitional teams in the Premier League and in the world, right? But they he went on and further expatiated on what he meant, and they were trying to get okay, is he a defensive or just only the attack? Then he said it was the attack. But he made a keynote saying for every win, for you to get a win, you'd have to have a solid defense line. You have to have a solid defense line, meaning all of those transitional style of play, right, that he said he wanted, that he said he was going to turn United into, right, cannot come into fruition if there isn't. And the manager was talking from a point of last season where he kept the highest clean sheet in the league. David De Gea won the Golden Glove, right? We considered 9 goals at Old Trafford last season. So the man had every right to talk about attacking transitional play being one of the best, right? Because he knew in his mind's eye he had a solid defense, but only to come into the season and if you all went falling down like crashing down like a pack of cards, and you're like, okay, so but he had to make do. He had to make do of what he had to make do of. They say, when life throws you a lemon, you try to make lemonade. How sweet it is, bro, it depends on what kind of lemons you get, right? So for me, looking at everything that's happened in this season, right? The defense has been the Achilles heel for United as well as Ten Hag's team, and I don't like to use it as an excuse, but you could see it has impacted us. If last season we were one of the best defensive team in the league, right? Then because we had a solid back four, this season not so much. Yeah, a lot of people will say, but he tinkered and he tweaked it. David De Gea was had to go and all of that, right? Or he made David De Gea go. A lot of people will point fingers at him. Yes, all of those words, all of those sentences, and all what accusation, quote and unquote, are true. But the thing is, if you want to progress, you can't keep holding on to previous or what outdated moves, right? So, and there's nobody said this man is 100%. It should be 100% perfect. In every person, there is bound to be a mistake. Now he's made his mistake. He's going to learn from it because one of the journalists asked him, with the downhill so far in the season, right? Sorry, guys, I'm in the park with my kids. Okay, go ahead. With the downside this season, what lesson have you learned, right, going into the next season? Of course, the man would have learned his lesson. Of course, the man would have known, okay, I've made a mistake here or there. Let give you a case, an example. He was asked about Amrabat and Ahmad posing a real question towards the end of the season, giving him a headache in terms of selection. And he said, this is a good one for the team. This is competition, internal competition that look, hear the words that I've been waiting for almost all season. Like he literally said the words, I've been waiting for this internal competition all season. Although we had injuries, but it's one of those competitions I've been waiting for, and it's glad that it's coming. It's glad that it's coming now. You get what I'm saying? It's glad that it's coming now. And for me, you could tell that this man actually has he's seen these players, he know what these players can offer in training. The application in game is what's been lacking. Now that he's getting it from these players, he's like, okay, why? It's like you and I, Mark. It's like you and I. It's a little too late. That's what we're saying now. It's a little too late. Why is he coming this time? You know why? But we can't complain. We have to take it because guess what? We have a game in 10 days. We have two games in 10 days. Sorry, it's not about the games, right? So we have games to play. You understand? So for me, kudos to him, kudos to the fans. I like the response he gave, as touching the Rashford and the fan issue, right? Yo, I don't in his even if he was a United fan, right? But the man said, "Yo, we have 68,000 of them in the stadium, and they were behind us. They were raving. They gave us the ambience was good. They gave us the support." So I'm in my head, according to what he said, maybe it's the 3,000 of the Newcastle fans that weren't so happy with Rashford or something like that. For me, good answer because you can't be throwing your fans under the bus. You can't be
Never.
throwing your players under the bus. So for me, it's good answer. If the Newcastle fans want to say, but that's not our section, so be it, whatever it is. But the manager just stood by his fans and stood by his players. So for me, bro, a lot of mistakes have been made this season. Let's not kid ourselves. The manager has his own share of those mistakes, right? The players they do theirs, they have theirs. The club as a whole have theirs in terms of the management and the mismanagement for 10. I keep telling people this thing: 10 years mismanagement of funds. No, the funds were there. Don't get me wrong. 10 years mismanagement of funds is no joke to anybody. It's not a joke, bro. 10 years of steady mismanagement is not a joke. It will catch up with you someday. And the problem is we've mismanaged funds for 10 years, and we've not even in maybe in those years tried to see how we can adjust. No, no, no. It was when it hit the snag, the owners were like when it hit when he hit the snag, man is in some Caribbean mood right now, bro. I could tell. When he hit when he hit the snag, that's when they thought about, okay, let's look for a outright sale or
Yeah.
investment some type of way, right? So 10 years, bro. So the managers got his share of the blame. The players got their share of the blame. But let's look at it holistically. The club has got their shares of the blame. I keep telling people, I will say it again one last time. 10 years of mismanagement of funds is no joke.
No
It's no
joke.
joke. I think I passed the ball to mental ball game or worse who's gonna take it.
Mental, big up, bros. What's up? What are you thinking? How do you feel? How did you interpret the press conference and what are your thoughts?
Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. The best part about today is Drex is in the park with his kids, so the stream is going to be absolutely clean. There's no talk about spits and anything today. The press conference was good. The manager looked in an upbeat mood, and the best part was that the reporters couldn't ask him any question about him being this being a last game for him managing Manchester United in the Premier League, or whether he's going to do a lap of honor or anything because we won the last game. That's the best way to shut up the press. Just win your games, put your performance on the pitch, and the press won't have anything to ask you about whether you're leaving or staying, because
100%.
they saw in the last home game that the match going fans were well behind the manager. They were chanting his name. There were some stupid Newcastle fans who were booing when he started his speech, but the home fans quickly drowned that out with their applause and everything. So that was good to see. Now the manager looks in a good mood. I think he's got players coming back. I think he said Varane might be available for the final. He'll have to see how he is on Sunday. I think even if Varane gets 15 minutes on Sunday against Brighton, I think he should start the FA Cup final with Martinez. If we have Varane and Martinez in the final, I think we've got a slim chance of winning that final. But otherwise, the answers were good. He replied everything with confidence. He didn't shy away from any of the questions, even with the Rashford question that they tried to get him. Do you think Rashford should have done it and all that? He said we had 68,000 fans behind the team. So even if one or two idiots are there who don't want to be behind the team and want to do those things in the ground, we still have the majority behind us. So I liked it, man. I liked the confidence that the manager had in the press conference.
100%, 100%. For me, I think it was a good press conference. Like I'm always happy when he gives a kind of candid explanation to the questions, because for me, he doesn't have to speak candidly every time. Like, he could say things, I would say, you know, between the lines, and I would interpret them myself, or I would just be like, it is what it is. But there are some fans that they want to hear what's actually going on. They want to know, and that's good and all. But sometimes, like I keep saying to everyone, during the course of the season, you can't always criticize the players or criticize the club or criticize certain things in a drastic manner, because it will probably backfire against you. And we have a season to finish. But the manager has been seeming very confident over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Despite the drop in performances or the drop in points as well. So I'm not too pressed on that. I like the way he was in the press conference. I think he's getting more accustomed and used to dealing with the press. So it's his mastery of English is also getting better. So it seems like he's being able to display a little bit more of his personality and his own candidness and how he deals with things. So that's a good
And
one.
do you think he's been told by Ineos that he's staying in the past 2-3 weeks, and maybe that's given him the confidence as well?
Well, that's in a way, I've been feeling he's been told this quite some time now. Since before Jason Wilcox came in, they've been sitting down and since after he came in, they've been sitting down and having regular meetings. They've been having breakfast together. And we have all heard reports, confirmed reports, that they have been planning with Ten Hag for the summer. So for me, when I heard those reports, I think that would supersede any thought that we were selling the manager when they started planning with Ten Hag. And that's because, he, for his contract, he has a kind of player type style contract, which is 3 years with an option to extend if the club wishes to extend his contract. So I think the major reason that they haven't said anything is maybe they're discussing new terms with that contract extension. Maybe they're going to extend his contract, but they're going to change some of the terms of the contract, which I don't think might be a problem for Ten Hag. A lot of people seem to think that, he's not interested in giving up the control he has or the veto that he has on transfers and stuff like that. But from Ajax, he had a very, very good system behind him, very good footballing people in charge of things. And he trusted them and they got stuff. And, he did have an input. It may not have been like the final say, but he did have input then. And I think it's going to be something similar. I think at the end of the day, the best structure must work with the manager and not, the manager work for the structure. I think working for the structure is a small club style. Hmm?
Let me let me add a thing or two to what you just said, right? Mental, see it like this, right? You're in a position to pitch your idea to um, someone that actually understands your your field, your career field, right? Someone that actually has the broader knowledge of what you want to do. Although there is writings on the wall that you could be kicked out, but now you have the opportunity. You are in the room. You are having breakfast with the said person that has the keys to the kingdom in terms of your outgoing, or whether you're gonna stay or you remain, right? Stay or you're gonna leave. would you would pitch your ideas. You would want to sell yourself good to that person, right? Now, for me, it's a case of if it's either Ineos wants to believe this guy and say, okay, you know what, like what Sir Jim has said several times, the environment has not been good, right? The environment is an environment that has not even seen the best of managers thrive under, you know. So it's either that one or they are going to say, you know what, we like the idea that Ten Hag has pitched towards. The last time I was having breakfast with him, I picked his brain. I was able to see what he was doing, what he intends to do, and I saw a little bit of it in some games that he highlighted here or there. And you know what? I think those ideas we might just hold on to that. So the next manager, we might pitch those ideas to this manager and see if it could work in that light. So it's a case of Ineos, it's in their ball now. It's in their court to make the decision. Ten Hag, I feel like what Mark is saying is, okay, maybe they looked at it and said, okay, you know, you had too much veto power. First of all, that was veto power that was given to Ten Hag in the first place. Were a mistake. In my opinion, anybody can disagree, but in my opinion, the man asked for those veto power because there was no structure, quote and unquote, behind it. This man was coming from a place where all he needed to do was just say, I need XYZ, and if they can't get him XYZ, they get him X1 or Y1 or Z1. What I mean by that is in the modes of XYZ for him, right? So he doesn't really have to be thinking too much. The recruitment team goes and says, okay, here's this player from Brazil. It fits the mode of the player that you're looking for. How do we work with it? And those that is the environment he's coming from. A case in study is Iman came in at in May, I believe, was in May or June? Yeah, one of those. I can't remember, May or June, and said he wanted Timber, Anthony, and De Jong. Mentor in three of those three names, we were able to get Anthony, but we knew how much it cost us to get Anthony, right? Because the people that were in charge were thinking too much. They were so now the man for me is Ineos. Is Ineos? Ineos is looking at. I feel like Ineos is looking at this manager. I'm like, okay, this is what this guy wants to do. We saw a glimpse of it in his first season. Second season hasn't even gone too well. You know what? Let's ride the storm with him for the next 1 year. But we're gonna adjust his contract terms and make him a free man, so he doesn't have to bother about recruitment, or he just tells her what he wants, and every other person in that department go work with it, and let's see if he could produce. This is what a lot of us, I think you've attested to that fact before you moved over to the other side, right? But a lot of us have said it's not like we're blindly following this guy, but it's because we know what this guy can do, right, with the system. Let's see if he can replicate that with such structure behind him. If it's not, for me, if he's not cutting it out, then yeah, we can cut ties with him. But I believe, because I've seen this guy under a system, I believe
Yeah,
in
I
this
think
guy.
I think if it was someone like John Murtaugh or Ed Woodward kind of appointment happening right now, instead of the new structure that we're getting, I think they might have decided to get rid of him because they would have not understood the challenges that he's faced during the season.
Far.
They're not a
That's far.
they're not
That
football
is
people.
100% correct. Yes, that's on the. I agree with you on that. If it was Woodward, would have been by the time the fans were crying Tenaga out. Woodward would have put the axe down and they are cut ties with him, right?
Yeah,
You hit the nail on the head because they don't understand. They're more of the commercial side. So to them, when they blink their eyes, they all see the dollar sign, the pound sign, right? But now this is people in the. Maybe Ineos might have come in and said, okay, you know what, we'll get rid of Ten Hag. But Ten Hag has gone into the room and like maybe try to convince them. Now they're on the table and say, okay, we're at the crossroad. Not so much good manager out there. If we have to get the likes of the Gersman, it means we have to buy him out of his contract. If we have to get the likes of maybe, let's say, whoever the good coach is that everybody's been clamoring for, we still have to buy them out of their contract, right? So we know how money is tied with United at the moment. You know what? Let's just ride this. For me, riding the storm with Ten Hag to see where it ends, it's not the end of the world, bro. It's not the end of the world for me. It's at least it's giving them time to actually say, okay, if it doesn't work out, then we could actually have maybe in a year get one of the managers that we want so much free, and maybe even buying him out of the contract at that time might be cheaper. Then we do that. But for me, riding the storm with for the next season with a few structures in place. Don't forget Jason Wickers. My brother, I believe, is due to start in June, if I'm not mistaken. So those two are already on ground. So Dan Ashworth not being there doesn't really impair the process, if I may use that word. I feel like yeah, Garnacho will make maybe from his books, from what his experience and his catalogs of players that he might be scouting or his scouting network might have given to him, and his yeah, maybe that would have added a little bit, giving us an extra maybe 10 or 20 million in terms of pricing and all of that. But I don't think it will impact whatever that was going to be done in the summer, because for me the summer is about getting those players that are deemed surplus to requirement out of the club and maybe replacing them with not much so of a prospect, but with players that you know can do the job within maybe within their first or within their second year of their contract or something like that. That's my opinion. That's my opinion on that.
Yali, yeah, the press conference was happened. It happened earlier on today, I believe, at 1 o'clock UK time. It was already happening. It's the first part. It was embargoed. He only spoke about the possibility of Luke Shaw returning, which is a very very small, complicated possibility, and he did not give any guarantees about players' availability for the Euros or Copa America, but he did say that you know Martinez is available in the squad. He trained, as well as there's all the other players like Willie Kwambala who were back in the last game. Marcus Rashford trained as well. Bruno trained as well. So at least we have those four players back into the fold, which strengthens our attack, strengthens our midfield, and strengthens our defense. So it is what it is. What we're going in for this weekend. It should be a good game. I think a lot of people might be thinking Brighton is our bogey team, but I feel like we have something in store for Brighton. The last time we lost to Brighton this season, it was for me a kind of a lucky kind of situation for them. I don't think that it was much deserved. I think they got away with a few things, and like they've been asking, they asked Ten Hag about the VAR, and I think they also know in their heart of hearts that Man United has suffered at the hands of VAR in the last few games and across this season. Maybe because of the comments, or maybe because of the mistake with Onana in the game against Wolves. But we've been atoning for that stuff all season. So yeah, I mean, like when it comes to the structure and what's happening with Ten Hag, I think we as fans, I understand. As much as I'm a positive fan, optimistic guy, I could understand the flip side of things with where you guys are coming from. You guys want to see something, you want to see something that gives you more reason to support it. You want to see more pragmatic nature of, you want to see change. But for me, I'm always going to stick with the perspective of it was always a rebuild season where we're implementing a new system, so it's always going to be up and down. And in my honest opinion, like I kind of expected us to be finishing somewhere thereabouts within the top six thereabouts. So finishing 7, 8, it's not really that bad to me when I add in the fact that we had all those injuries and some bad performances as well mixed in between, as well as I think there's a lot of times this season where the referee decided the outcome of our games unfairly. So
What do you think about it though, Mark? Mark and Drex as well. What do you guys think? Should we get rid of VAR? I mean, personally for me, I wouldn't get rid of VAR, but I would get separate official team for VAR. The referees who are on the field should not be in the VAR room. And with the
exactly.
semi-automatic offside coming in next season, I think VAR chances of getting offside wrong will be eliminated as well. So I personally would keep VAR but keep separate officials for it.
I agree with you. The only thing for me is that Drex. I think just not Drex, bro. I just think that they should just hire the team or hire the person who was effectively the executive in control of the team that did the Afcon. I think that's the guys. You get that guy, and then let him hire a squad to work in VR and let him control them. I don't think VR should be cozy with the referees on field. I think there should be separate, like you said, mental. I think there should be a separate set of individuals. I don't think they should have much interaction, or they should be like a team. I think they should be like an antithesis for each other. Like, like the VAR is auditing the referee's performance throughout the game, and the referee's kind of like, contradicting VAR at the same time. I feel like that's the best situation we could hope for. Not a marriage where they're helping each other. You know what I mean? Because then you never know what could happen. I would always rather to see it be like a competition to see who performs best. And it's the Premier League. I think there's a lot of situations that needs to be done to get the league retrofitted for a lot of different parts of the technology that they use in the Champions League. I think we should have the same exact rules as the Champions League. I think it would also help in keeping the football across the board. I don't think that, what we see for handballs or subjective calls in the UCL, we see them in the Premier League. I think almost always the subjective calls favor a team that's favored by referees. I'm not even gonna say it any other way than that, in my honest opinion. I think VR is good, but there needs to be more of a situation where certain things aren't as subjective. I don't like the subjectivity of handballs in the Premier League. What is intent for me? You could never say that. You could never know what a player intends to do. You're not in his head. So I think we need to remove a lot of the subjective rulings that we have currently in the Premier League and put more objectivity into it. Because subjectivity, for me, is more of like a one-sided argument on if and or maybe.
Yo, for me, it's a case of get rid of the people using the VAR system. Get rid of them, right? You can't. Mental, isn't it shocking for you to see that it's the Premier League club that are actually trying to say get rid of it because of the way it's being used. In the La Liga, you don't hear that. Champions League, you don't hear that. AFCON, you don't. We saw how AFCON was, how VAR was used in the African Cup of Nations, right?
Amazing.
Everybody was like, "Yo, if this the go-to way to use the VAR, right?" Even the World Cup that it was initially initiated for, it wasn't good, but it wasn't that good when compared to how it was used in the AFCON. So like what Mark is, I'm gonna echo it. Like get people. You can actually get people that can actually read these things because it's all about reading the lines and all of that. You can actually get IT personnel. It mustn't be your referees. It mustn't be the referees that ref games because now, if I ref a game this week, I think I'll be on VAR or GT maybe in the next two weeks on in a different game where I'm not on the pitch. It's not supposed to be. Let the match referee focus on the infield and whatever it has to do. Leave them out of the VAR or get a different personnel for the VAR. One case in question is what now I know they say they're going to use it starting next season. What stops them from implementing the semi-auto what they call automated offside thing? That's like the simplest of all. They did goal line technology. The ball crosses the chip of the part of the chip crosses the line and it rings on the referee's wristwatch and is a goal. The same thing you could do that with the semi-automated offside thing. It's very simple. All of this is why we have to wait for somebody to draw a line with an obscure angle and they draw it in such a way that it has to favor one person and when the other team is looking at it, it doesn't look like the lines are actually drawn correctly, right? You put red blood line, and it's not put yourself. So for me, it's a case of VAR has its role to play. It's been good. We've seen how it's been used, and we can all attest to the fact that if used properly, it's not whether you're on the receiving end or you're profiting from it or it's against you at the moment it's being used. It's not a case for discussion. It's whether it was used properly in your favor or against you. That's the bottom line. And we've seen it so far this season in the Premier League. It's not been that case. You call foul for one, you send it back to VAR. The player, let me give you an example. Rasmus Oyland just put his hand around. Was it Rodri? Penalty. The same thing happened in a different game. No, it's not. What's that? If it's going to be objective, it should be objective across all games. If it's not going to be objective, then it shouldn't be objective. So if you're going to make a subjective call, then it should apply to every team and every game. The way they're
Exactly.
using it in the Premier League is not, for me.
Not
It's
right.
the reason why. It's the reason why the 17 clubs are active. It's not the VAR itself. It's the people using it. It's the way it's being used. That's why the people are saying no, we want it out. But for me, VAR has
100%.
its
I agree.
100%. Guys, I just have two little things I wanted to bring into the show. I know a lot of people are talking about Olise and possible transfers and things, but I'm keeping a little bit of focus on the defensive transfers and some transfers that I think might be obscure, but might be a little bit more likely to take place based on the situation. I know we've been following this youngster, Lenny Euro, for the majority of the season, and the price was possibly going to be somewhere in the region of 70, 80 million, but there has been a drastic change, and now it's reported that we can land him for 52 million. I'm talking about this youngster. He plays for Lille. He is 6'4", 17 years old. He should be 18 in a week, I believe. And he is very, very talented, very good on the ball, very progressive, very energetic, and very, very physical. And Manchester United transfer strategies have always been a topic of effervescent discussion, but this summer's approach seemed particularly intriguing as we delve into the club's potential overhaul under Sir Jim Ratcliffe's oversight. The focus sharpens on Lille's standout defender Lenny Yoro. A detailed report by Give Me Sports shed light onto United interest and broader implication of such a move. Real Madrid as a contender also interested in signing the youngster, but the saga surrounding Euro's future is gripping, not because of the involvement of football giants like Manchester or Real Madrid, but they are waiting to discover whether the teenager is only interested in joining Real Madrid before entertaining or lodging a bid. This statement not only highlights the strategic patience Manchester United exercising, but also underlines the high stakes involved in securing the talent like Euro. So this is one of the things that's possibly happening right now. It's basically a statistical showdown. They're trying to get him to replace Rafael Varane. One can't help but marvel at the potential Euro brings to the table, especially when his statistics are laid bare against those of Rafael Varane, who he might replace. Euro's pass completion stands at an impressive 92% compared to Varane's 88.7%. Moreover, his aerial duels won and interceptions per 90 minutes suggest he could not only match but potentially exceed the benchmark set by Varane at Old Trafford. Ratcliffe's reservations and broader recruitment plans, interestingly enough, Sir Jim Ratcliffe's initial hesitance regarding the move for Euro provides an insight into the broader recruitment strategy and the evolving priorities at Manchester United. Sources reveal that United's scouting list include names like Jaran Brandwaite, Jean-Claire Todibo, and Antonio Silva, indicating a diverse approach to strengthening the black line. The club's nuanced strategy, aiming to blend youth with proven talent, reflects a dynamic approach to the squad in the post-Glazer era. Financial implications and future prospects. The financial aspect of a potential deal cannot be overstated. Lille's valuation of Euro around £52 million, which is a potential drop to 51 million, speaks volumes about the market dynamics and the negotiation leeway that might be able to be at play. Lille president Oliver Letang insisted that he would not entertain selling Euro for less than £70 million, but his stance has softened and significantly a lower bid of 51 million would be entertained, adds another layer to this unfolding narrative. Manchester United's interest in Lenny Yoro is more than just a transfer rumor. It's a statement of intent and a glimpse into the club's future under new leadership. The anticipation of what Euro could bring to Old Trafford is palpable, and the strategic nuances of this potential transfer could well define Manchester United's trajectory in the coming years. In conclusion, as Manchester United navigates its crucial transfer period, decisions made this summer could be pivotal. The prospect of Euro joining the ranks is exciting and holds the promise of ushering a new era of defensive solidity and tactical acumen at Manchester United. Guys, what are your thoughts about this article? I think it's one of the things that we have to look at. Lenny Euro, 52 million, maybe a John Clare Todibo. There's been reports that we have a rough estimation of 230 million to spend basic. And with the boost of sales and transfers, we might reach about another 100 million added to that, possibly 150. So my thoughts, guys, I always looked at this youngster, but his price tag was kind of ushering me a little bit away from him. So I was also looking at youngsters like Ansel Amino, who just recently re-signed a contract at Boca and will possibly only be able to be available for somewhere in the region of $23 million instead of 13. And there's also such a target, as the young Mikhail Fai, who's a Barcelona prodigy coming through. He's out of Senegal, 19 years old, probably in the region of 21 to 23 million pounds. So there's a lot of interest, and there's quite a few players. They have also mentioned Antonio Silva and Jean-Claire Todibo. I think the average price of these players minus Antonio Silva is somewhere in the region of 50 to 55 million on the expensive side. There's also Goncalo Ignacio, who we have not heard a lot of talk about in the last few weeks, but we know the scout department out of all of those players, has scouted him the most. And he's also willing to come to United. He's more left-footed and would see more of a likely backup for Lisandro Martinez. What are your thoughts on that? And I'm going to present to you one more football transfer news after this.
I think for an 18-year-old, 55 million is a lot of money, man. 50 million or 55, whatever it will be. I mean, if we can get Branthwaite for 60, I would rather go for Branthwaite because he's played in the Premier League. He's proven in Premier League. I mean, we don't know how Lenny Euro would turn out in the Premier League. He might be playing for Lille, but French league and Premier League is a totally different league altogether. So if the price tag is that 55 million, I would rather get Branthwaite for 60 because he's Premier League proven.
Fair enough, fair enough. Drexy, what are you thinking, bro?
For me, I rather go with I rather go with the Euro kid right now. Not because I don't rate Premier League defenders, right? It's for me. I have seen Bruntwick play. The thing that they talk about that, so I haven't really experienced that spectacular thing about him. Like again, there's room for improvement. Like every other player within his age, right? There's room for improvement. But if you're going to be carving out 51 million pounds as for an 18-year-old, like what my friend my body is saying right there, it's expensive. But it's one of if the most important thing is, does he have the skill set that we are looking for? Does he have the skill set? One, is he someone that would over time increase in attributes of those skill set? And that's another thing you should be looking at. Now, the third thing is the longevity. We don't want a situation where, even for Brantwood, we don't want a situation where we buy a player and we're like, oh, not again. We bought something different, right? Because there's no guarantee that, although Brantwood has the Premier League experience, there's no guarantee that we just come into United and fit in like hand in glove. No, we might just. I've seen Saliba. For me, Saliba is a French defender, right? He's solid. And when he going got to Arsenal, they were looking at him like, "Yo, who's this guy?" But he proved his mark, and he's become a bedrock for Arsenal. For me, Saliba is even better than Gabriel, right? But it's just again what Ineos. I keep going back to Ineos. What is Ineos looking for? What is they and the coaching setup and everything? What are they looking for? For me, 51 million pounds. You can go there and maybe throw them at 30 million and put every other thing in add-ons, right? And get the deal done. For Brantwaite, we know they want 70. As I heard, they've reduced it to 55. But Everton looks like they're going to stay up. Right? I know they have financial crisis. I don't think because of the financial crisis they're going to go shipping out players for ridiculous amounts and maybe cheaper price. No. So it's what they're looking for. But for me, in my opinion, if you ask me, I go in there, we test them with maybe a 35,000 or 30,000 pounds. Is it
35
pounds or euros?
million.
Sorry, so is it pounds or euros?
It's pounds, right? It's pounds. This is pounds.
Okay, so I go there with the 35 million or 30 between 30 32 million pounds to test them and say, okay, every other thing will be on add-ons because guess what? He's 18 years old, bro. He's 18 years old. We play for Lille. It's not like Lille won anything so this season. So, yeah, we play for Lille, go there, test it 30, between 30 32 cash right away and every other thing in add-ons and see how you go from there. But for me, it's just to like what Sir James said, is getting the next Mbappe, getting the next Varane, getting the next Jude Bellingham. I think that's key for them though. I'm going off that one. That's my
Yeah,
opinion.
I agree with you, Drex. But the only difference with Saliba was that even though Saliba was also playing in the French league, he was head and shoulders above everyone else in
No,
that
he
league.
wasn't actually.
He, no,
Saliba
he
was
was in
not
the team
even
of the
close to
year.
being the best. He was not even close to being one of the best defenders in the
They were
French league
looking
when
to
last
they were
time.
When
looking
he
to
went
they,
to
they were looking
before.
to sell Saliba. They
Let's
were
go,
looking to
Drex,
ship him
Drex.
out.
No.
Saliba,
One minute,
when
one minute.
Saliba came to the Premier League,
No, when I'm
I could
talking
call
when
the
they
top
brought
10
him back
defenders
to
in the league,
Arsenal.
and Saliba was nowhere near.
When Arteta brought him back to
He was
Arsenal
not
the year
okay when he
before,
came back, but when they bought him was a year
yes,
and a
I
half
agree.
before. He was nowhere near it.
I
This
agree,
youngster
and
here,
that's why he was
however,
sent on loan. And
right,
but
but
when he
this
went on
youngster,
loan,
however, right, this youngster that we're
yeah,
talking about here is probably the top in the top three this season.
Okay, I can't comment on that because this is the first time I'm hearing his name, to be honest. I haven't been following the French league. I don't know this player, so I can't really comment on that. I was just talking about Saliba, that when Arteta brought him back from loan, he was in the team of the year in Liga when he was playing for Marseille on loan. So
That's I
I
agree.
agree that Saliba was also playing in the French league, but yeah, I can't comment on this player because I don't know what his attributes are. I've never seen him play. So if he's got the attributes, I totally agree with Drex. I mean, it's all up to the scouts and the team who are bringing him in. They need to judge. We need to be astute now in judging the players that we are bringing in. Like Ten Hag knew what are Martinez's attribute. He knew Licha from Ajax. He knew what he wanted in a left-footed centre back. He got him, and Licha fit in straight away. There was no
Well,
bedding in
actually,
period. One or two games when people were saying that he's too short and this and that. But from the third or fourth game, he was ready to play in the Premier League. He showed everyone that he's ready for Premier League. So that's what we need to do. We need to get in the players, as Drake said, who have the attributes that we need. That's the main thing.
100%, 100%.
But
And
let me just add a little bit here.
I want to go on to the
See,
next one, and then
yeah,
we
yeah,
could
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, we'll wrap up. Let me just add this one. Brantwaite might fit like hand in glove. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying we have to, like you said, we have to be astute. We have to look at everything critically and make our decision. That's because we don't want to make we're trying to reduce error, right? That would as much as possible. It's not like we will not make mistake, but we're trying to reduce that mistake to the barest minimum. That's what I think, in my opinion.
Right. And then the guys, this is a weird one for me because we've been hearing lots of reports recently, but this is a report that has been picking up some steam about the place, and it seems it's pretty weird. And I know when I bring it up, some people are gonna say that I am really hyped for this one, but this is something that has been discussed, that I've heard, and I just wanted to bring it to the table, and you guys could make a decision and discuss afterwards. There's a football transfer rumor: Man United to swap Mason Mount for Araujo. Real Madrid eyes Saliba. Right? So Manchester United have made a bid worthy of £47 million plus Mason Mount to sign Barcelona centre-back Ronald Araujo, with the Red Devils' new owners ready to cut ties with the England international after just one season. Cristiano Ronaldo has urged Al Nassr to bid for midfielder Bruno Fernandes with a bid over £80 million expected to arrive in the summer. Chelsea, there's a broad report, of some of the latest documented, you know, stuff. So, I'm not going to go into the Chelsea Tottenham stuff, but I just wanted to mention that, Man United also are planning to offer Donny van der Beek to Inter Milan as part of their bid to sign Denzel Dumfries. Right? The deal could be worth somewhere around £30 million for Denzel Dumfries. So maybe if we offer Van der Beek, maybe we can get him for somewhere in the region of 15 to £20 million, or maybe 15 on the lower side, which would be something that we are looking to do. So guys, I know that was just a little bit of a swap deal, and yeah, I know Yali. Like for me, like swap deals is something that Manchester United have not really made popular, in the last few seasons or whatnot, but I have heard reports by a lot of guys that do scouting that, Barcelona and Xavi, they also kind of have a fancy for Mason Mount and what he could do in their midfield. And then it would probably
But
offer
if
them the opportunity to adjust their wage bill, and if
but
they
if
could.
we're doing that, Mark, are we
Mhm.
are we valuing Araujo at 102 million?
Well,
47 million plus Mason Mount. That's 102 million. We paid 55 million for Mason Mount.
I mean,
On
if
top
you
of that, we are paying 47 million pounds to them.
Well, I don't. You see, this is the thing, bro. Like when it comes to those figures and those things, I'm not saying that I'm totally, believing that it's possible. It's just like me saying that, sell Greenwood for 35 million and buy Olise for 70. Those two things don't really make sense. So while I've been hearing a lot about this from one or two guys who I know does scouting about Europe, and they're pretty reliable, it's like it's just that for me, I just wanted to bring it out there so people could hear some news that come up recently about the transfers. Now, At the same time, I don't really think we should try to sell Mason Mount unless we're trying to get, a literal equivalent swap. Like, Mason Mount, 10 million, Ronald Araujo. Now, Ronald Araujo, in my honest opinion, I would take him at centre back. Based on his experience and his ability and his profile, I think he's probably going to be very, very good for us. Kind of something like a Nemanja Vidic was, a taller version of Martinez that's going to play right next to Martinez. And at the same time, I don't think I would pay anything in the region of 60, 70 million for him. That's just me, to be honest. So while this report is somewhat plausible in terms of where it's coming from, it's something that I'm not 200% sure is possible because, like I say, those prices, I trying to stick away from spending 50, 60 million on every single player that we bring in the club. I would hope that we will do some signings, some cheeky signings of some young players that have the potential and have been showing performances that could get them there in the next year and a half. So that's just my opinion.
For me, I'm gonna don't even swap deals like what y'all is saying. 98% most of the time don't work. Don't go through. So I would stay away from. But Araujo is a nice player, but bro, what are we looking at? 100 or 7? No, bro. You see, it's. I think I think it was somebody that said it in the chat. Was it Yali? We have so much players to buy, but little money to spend. So we have to spend wisely, and when I mean wisely, we don't have to start throwing money, huge money or big sum of money at players that we think, okay, because we need a defender, then this person is going to fit in, and we should just go and spend. No, we only spend. We need to fix the club in all aspects. For me, Mason Mount, we just got him. I know a lot of people don't like him. He hasn't really shown us anything, but why rush? Why be in a hurry to sell him?
I
Why be in a
mean,
hurry to sell him? You can still
eh,
keep him. Like the case of Olise, and like you made mention, it still hasn't. He hasn't sat down well with me. Like you're gonna be spending another 55, 60 million on a right wing when you could just call the one you have. I know there's a lot of stuff, a lot of non-footballing stuff behind him, but for footballing reason, you could just call the one you have and get on with it, and save that 50 or 60 bucks, put it somewhere else. Like we need a defensive midfielder. We
we
need
need two.
Casemiro. We need two because Casemiro will be gone for what we're looking at now, as it stands now. Amrabat to go back to Fiorentina, so we definitely need two. We still need in my opinion, we still need two strikers. We haven't replaced Cristiano Ronaldo, and Martial is going to walk out of the door for free. That means we need two strikers, but we're only going to get one this season. So we can't fix everything this season. I understand, but we need to be wise in the spending. So giving a player plus what 47 million for Araujo, bro, man, for me it's it's not.
I mean, it's one of those
I
things,
mean, to
bro.
be honest, if we do that, if we pay 47 million and Mason Mount for Araujo, then nothing has changed.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
That's the
bro,
only
mean,
thing.
I
We
agree
should
with
not be
you.
I
doing that.
agree with that. Like I just keep my energy, as much as I don't like Mason Mount and Drex, no, I don't like Mason Mount at all. You know what I mean? I think he's a waste of space. To be fair, I think the only reason that we bought him was because of English tax. But at the same time, I would not waste that money. I think maybe we could give him another season and see if he could come as good as he was doing in maybe 2 seasons ago for Chelsea. Because the last season at Chelsea was pretty injury ridden for him as well as this season at United. So he hasn't really gotten a fair chance to express himself or make an account or a claim that this is who I am. So like I'm not in a hurry to sell him. As much as that report sounded great for me initially, when I saw when the guy told me about the price, I was like, bro, that doesn't sound good at all. 47 million plus this guy. No, that's not happening. Not for me. You know what I mean? And like yeah, a lot of guys might have a lot of opinions to be had, but this is free. This saves us 50 to 70 million and adds to what we have. And this guy is better than everything that we have right now in that position on the wings, whether it's left or right. He's better than what we have. He's actually better than the candidate we want to spend 70 million for. And when I
Can
say
I ask
better,
a
I mean
question
twice
to
as
you
good.
guys?
You
Can
know,
I ask a question? Can I ask a question? What's the thing that Olise does that Ahmad can't do? I need that question. I need an answer for
free
that.
kicks, apparently.
That's the only thing.
That's the only thing. I mean, that's all I could see. I can't really, I have not really seen anything
Mentor,
from him other than free kicks that says that, we should go out and get him for 70 million.
men,
And just
but
that he's
funny.
got a bit of more experience in Premier League. That's it. That's the only thing that we are paying for, which is ludicrous. When we've got a player like Ahmad, why are we paying 70 million for Olise, man? I mean, it just doesn't make any sense spending that money unless we fix the other areas as Drex and you were mentioning. Unless we fix our midfield defense first, there's no use us spending 70 million on a winger right now.
100%. I
So,
don't know
let
why
me add
fans
this. Let me
so.
add this. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead,
I don't
Mark. Go
know
ahead.
why fans so. For me, I can't help but say it. It's like we are dogs over a lake with our bone in our mouth, looking at our reflection. Either that, or the grass is always green on the other side of the fence because we have so many young wingers coming up. So many. It have Shea Lacey about to come into this team through preseason, right? As well. That's another winger. You know what I mean? There's Joe Scanlon. You know what I mean? That's another winger, another central attacker. A guy who could play multiple roles across the front. Ethan Williams. This youngster is from the right wing. You saw him in preseason playing with the guys. You know, and you know what I mean? There's Palestri to come back from loan. Like we have so many players now. While I'm agreeable that they all might not make it at United, at least we should be looking if we rebuilding and we changing, maybe we could give some of these guys a look in, and let them be the backup. Like maybe have two of them be backup for the left and two of them be backup for the right, and then we see what we have. If we sell Rashford and let's just say hypothetically you bring Greenwood back, right? Then Garnacho starts off the left, Greenwood starts off the right. Anthony could back up Garnacho off the left or Greenwood on the right. Then Ahmad is the same. You know what I mean? You have options, and the options aren't bad. You know what I mean? Like, sure, the output from these guys wasn't amazing this season, but 19 to 21 years of age, all of these guys. I feel like, give them a chance. The next season they will have better output. I mean, Lise first season at Crystal Palace, he wasn't putting up those numbers. And if I'm not mistaken, this is like what, his fourth or his fifth season at Crystal Palace, and last season he did really well. This season he's doing well again. So, what I mean, if our guys were to have a third season at this rate, I think they might be pushing out levels and output that might rival what he's been doing. So for me, take a step back. Let's fix the defense. Let's fix the midfield because we need people saying we need two centre backs. We get two centre backs and we selling Lindelof. Probably sell Johnny Evans probably leaving and Wan-Bissaka probably leaving. That's three defenders already gone. You know what I mean? And we're not talking about others yet. So maybe we get three centre backs, and that's just my honest opinion. We get two centre backs that could be direct backups for the current starters, and then they get one who could float in between in the case of an emergency, which means that's three centre backs. And that's before we get a left back or a right back. I think we need a left back, but for me, I would drop off and bring back Alvaro Fernandez, push up Aria Mas as the third option, and let's see what Malacia does when he comes back fit. I would sell Luke Shaw in the summer, no, hands down. And as it stands, we replacing Aaron Bissaka with Frimpong is a very large possibility, or Denzel Dumfries. We'll see what goes with that. But for me, most important things will definitely be the defense and the midfield. Because if we get in a DM, I would certainly love to bring in a backup for that DM just in case he gets injured as well.
Let me say something. Yesterday during was it yesterday we played the game or the day before, right? It was clear to me because I've always asked myself, why do we want free pong? Why do we want free pong, right? But when we went three at the back yesterday, Wan-Bissaka was playing a wing back. If Mark it was you I was telling, right? Wan-Bissaka was playing a wing back, right? And he found himself in acres of space right in front of the goal. Man didn't know what to do, and it dawned on me right there, like this is the reason why we need a wing because right there, maybe he would have shot a
Repeat what
goal.
you
And
were saying, Drex, because you cut out just
okay,
now.
okay, I said maybe if it was Dalo in that position in place of Wan-Bissaka, would I getting a call? It would have maybe shot a goal and maybe found made the keeper make a save. But with Wan-Bissaka, it was so obvious why we needed a wing back yesterday. Guys, I have to run. I
Big up,
appreciate
bro.
Mark for having me on. Big up yourself, mental. Big up everybody in the chat
Very good,
room.
Drex.
I'll catch you guys on another one. Just
Big up, broski. Big up. Don't forget, guys, I'm also streaming to the D Hub Sports channel. Drex unfortunately has to go. Don't forget to smash a like and, a like, subscribe if you have the time. I don't know if you want to come in and help me close the show, Vegeta, but the link is pinned. If you have the time, you could come in and help me close. I'm just going to, just give this last bit of comment. I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because, it's one of those things I think any Manchester United fan will be happy to see. But also for me, it's quite interesting because my little brother is coming to Europe soon to start to do some trials to see if he can make it in France or in the UK with his footballing career. And this sounds like pretty amazing because Amsterdam is not far from me. And as I say that, I'm going to just bring this article. Our former Dutch legend of the club, Van Persie, has just been named head coach at Heerenveen, which is the Dutch football club that has just been promoted. It's going to be, his first job in management. I'd like to wish him well. And if that team could show his type of mentality, guys, I think there's going to be a very good team to be had. His comments was that I would like to continue my development and the role of head coach fits in perfectly with that, says the former striker. I'm therefore pleased with the opportunity at Heerenveen offers me, as it's a very nice Eredivisie club with a rich tradition and loyal supporters. It's a fantastic challenge to contribute to the sporting ambitions and the development of this club as a head coach. Guys, that's Robin Van Persie. Vegeta Sama, I see you're here. We were covering the manager's press conference. I don't know if you were able to see the comments previously before you came into the chat. I don't know if you saw that bit at the beginning, but Eric Ten Hag, he spoke about Luke Shaw is a very complicated situation, may not be available back for the rest of the season. It's due to not just to his setback, and there's other reports. Marcus Rashford was in training, Bruno was in training, as well as Amrabat, and you know Mason Mount is still out as well. He is not in training, and he probably will not feature for the rest of the season. There's information that Manchester United is in for Lenny Euro, £52 million, 18 years old, 6'4", one of the top 3 defenders this season in France, playing for Lille. And they said his profile is quite identical to that of a young Raphael Varane, and he's probably going to offer a similar type of profile performances to that. So other than that, there's some wacky reports that we might be selling Mason Greenwood in a swap deal for Ronald Araujo, but the prices on that don't seem really positive or prospective for me. What are your thoughts, my bro? You're mute, by the way. Hold on.
Can't hear you, Vegeta.
Let me see if you can think now, bro.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can. Big up, broski.
Okay. No, just saying that last part with the Greenwood was just stinky. I don't agree with that one because you can't. We don't have goals as it is, and then you're gonna sell another goal striker at the team. I don't know. I just think our focus should be elsewhere. First of all, Luke Shaw. I think it's time now. I think they should just focus on rehabilitating him so we can sell him because we can't sell an injured player. So they need to focus on that. Varane is going. Hopefully, we can sell like either Maguire or Lindelof. So that means you need 2 centre backs, in my opinion, and a left back. I don't know about the right back as yet, but I'm just looking at like the midfield as more important as the right back position. So getting 2 DMs because that has been an issue for I think many seasons. It's not just this season. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want one DM because if that one DM goes down, then we're back to square one. So I want 2 DMs. So I would build there before I even look at like right wingers and all of that other fun jazz. You know, that's just me personally. Because you need a solid foundation, just like when you're building a house. You need a very good foundation, then you build on that. So for me, the attackers are sort of the icing on the top. So I don't. That's why I don't like the Greenwood news, bro. Because we have a negative goal difference at the end of the season, and we're selling a goal striker, a goal scorer.
Proven Premier League star boy too. You know, the guy did it very well in his seasons at the Premier League. I think, you know, I mean, I could understand the other side, you know, guys. Like, I'm not going to be selfish here, as much as I would like to be. I mean, if I was a billionaire and I buy United, you know what happened long time, Vegeta, if I had buy United, bro. If I had any say in that,
Yeah, Greenwood was
he would have
going
been
nowhere,
starting
bro.
the season. He would have
He
been
was
wearing the
going
number
nowhere.
7 this season. You know what I mean? You know, I just being real. He would have been wearing the number 7. That would have been my reply to the fans, bro. I been real honest. And whoever didn't like that, yo, he wearing the number 7. Like it now. You know what I mean? Because reality demands that, you know, when it comes to sports, I always say sports is the number one rehabilitator. And what sports was always a foundation, what were hand in hand, was always the opportunity for people to be the best of themselves and find a space for themselves to be the best, or what you know, and achieve. And you know, we can't take away from that because of, you know, maybe some modern views, and you know, that just takes away from the definition of what sports were always meant to be. I know, apart from the competition and the luxury that came along with it after the fact, I think we have to always remember to stay true to what it was about from the beginning, you know. And yeah, you know, I want to see our team do better, and I think that, you know, a youngster like that, we could only see that, you know, with the performances that he's given this season in Spain, that he's working hard, he's kept his head down, you know, he's very very consistent over each and every game that he's played, and we are starting to see that type of form that he was in right before he got suspended for 18 months. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I would save 70 million, take that 70 million, buy 2 defenders with it, and then look to sell some players and buy 2 midfielders as well. You know, sell some players, buy another defender, buy a striker. You know, I would be looking at a backup striker, maybe a Sesko, or maybe an experienced striker within the regions of 35 to 45 million. You know, like a Boya Mayoral. You know, bring Greenwood back and bring the striker from Getafe. That guy is decent. He has a very good poaching goal. He's a very good poacher striker type. You know, he has a good ability on the ball. He takes shots from distance. You know, very good at heading the ball as well. So, you know, there's lots of options out there, guys. And, you know, there's a lot of big names. And I know everybody wants to get the best of the best of the best. And sometimes, you know, you could get the best that coming up that will be one of the best to be. You know what I mean? So we could take it from that perspective. Oh, Vegeta. Mm-hmm.
This is why I come to your streams, Mark. This is the only channel where we'll discuss Robin Van Persie's appointment as a manager and then have discussion about Greenwood for the next 10 minutes.
I
You
mean,
love that man so
bro,
much, man.
I'm telling you that.
You
Listen,
if
I
if
like
you
football, you know.
if you had a chance, you would name this channel Mason Greenwood channel, man. You
Bro,
love that man
probably if
so
he
much.
come back to
I hope
United,
for
I
you,
probably.
just for you, I hope he's playing here next season, man. I just hope that you get to see him playing for United again.
I
Just how
mean,
passionate you are for him to come back.
look at it like this, right? You know, I would say that I'm passionate about most players for United, especially the young players coming up that came through the academy, along similar lines, to be honest, you know, because we produced that. We didn't buy that. We didn't get that anywhere. We developed that home. That youngster, you know, was always there following the club from a young, you know, and his dream is to play for the club. So I will always support things like that because, you know, a lot of people might think some people it might not be as huge, but for me, it's always huge for a youngster to realize his dream in the way that he wanted to be. You know, that kind of way. Not everyone could get that opportunity to realize the dream, but that dream perfection, because a lot of players, you know, probably had dreams of playing for all sorts of different clubs, but the clubs that gave them the opportunities may not have been that club. You know what I mean? So I can't help but feel like that. And when you look at all these different things that happen to certain players and different things, it could easily be the end of his career again, an injury, or any player for that matter. So, you know, I will always try to lend support. Also, I just for some reason feel like, you know, the negativity about him for the last 2 seasons was a little bit much. You know, it's like I feel like if he was a relative of mine, I would at this point I would feel like people should just forgive and forget him and forget about it, because for the last 2.5 years before this season, when he was suspended, you know, he was being abused for that entire time. And if we care about mental health, it should be across the board. It shouldn't be picking and choosing on whether we feel this one should be given mental health. You know, whether it's Jaden Sancho, is Rashford,
Yeah.
you know, it could be Anthony, it could be anybody. You know, each and everybody deserve a fair chance, a fair fight, a fair, you know. And as much as the world is round, you know, it's not perfect. So that's kind of another reason why too. But you know what? You know, whatever happen will happen. What will be will be. If he doesn't come back, he doesn't come back. But as long as he's still contracted to United, I'm keeping the faith, bro. Being honest there. You know what I mean? So,
No, good
guys,
man, good. I
I
like
have to
that.
thank each and every one of you for joining me today. Vegeta, you know, don't forget to give a plug for your channel, bro. You know, the halftime show with Vegeta. When is the next stream? You know, give the guys a little bit of information, because, you know, they'll probably be there to check it out.
Yeah. So the last stream's gonna be on the last day, just watching the games, just to see who wins the league. Obviously, watching United to see what form we go into the next game with, because it's not the last game. Remember, we've got the FA Cup. I think people forget that. So yeah, just definitely catch me on Sunday as we wrap up the season, and then I'll be there throughout the whole summer, catching the Euros, transfer news, all of that fun stuff. So I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays.
Big up, bro. Big up, bro. Mental. You know, guys, Mental Ball Game is not just his name, yeah, bro. Like, this guy has a channel. You know, I know that you could go there. You could even go there anonymously and have a conversation with Mental Ball Game. And if everybody has everybody has a problem, bro. Like, I'm not saying that you have something wrong with you, but something might be bothering you mentally that you can't speak to anyone else about. And he offers this opportunity for you to be there. Non without it could be anonymous, and just speak about what's bothering you, and maybe you might find some advice or some relief in having that exchange. Big up to Mental Ball Game for providing that outlet to guys like you and me and everybody else here. Don't be sure to check out his channel. I'm not sure when his next stream is, but he can tell you for himself.
Yeah, sure, man. I've got to be honest. I haven't streamed for a while. My work has kept me really, really busy. I mean, I come on your stream because that's the only time that I've got some time where I can get away from work and come on the stream. So I like the morning streams more. That's why I can't come in the nights. And I haven't had time to stream a lot, but yes, I stream from time to time. I don't schedule the streams. So if you subscribe to the channel and keep your notifications on, you will get a notification saying that I'm online. And at that time, anyone can come in, anyone can say whatever they want to say. You don't need to subscribe or like with the ID that you're using at that time. It's a medium. It's just a platform for people to vent out their frustration and their anger, man. Whatever you want to get off your chest, you can come there and do it.
Power to you, bro. Big up, big up. And guys, it's been a long stream. We've had a lot of waffling. We've talked a lot about the football. We've talked about Eric Ten Hag. We talked about United and a bit of some transfers. So guys, take this time, smash a like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can see when next we're live. And you know what, guys? Enjoy the rest of your Friday. There's going to be happy hour this evening. I'm pretty sure Papi is going to be there. It's the last happy hour of the campaign, of the Premier League campaign, but there's also going to be a happy hour right before the FA Cup final as well. So, guys, enjoy your Friday. Don't forget, make sure to give someone that you care about a hug and let them know that you care. It's always going to be a good day. Manchester United may not have a great season, but definitely look forward to it. The FA Cup is going to be live, guys. Maybe we can get our hands on it. Maybe we can stop City. Who knows what will happen, but it's certainly going to be exciting to be there to watch, and we will all be here. Have a great day, everyone, and thank you for joining me. It's been your boy, Mark, an MUFC fan. I got Mental Ball Game. I had Drex with me earlier, and Halftime with Vegeta Sama. Big up to all of you watching. Thank you, Yarli Malmeen, George Bestie, Stephanie Griffith. Big up to all of you coming in, and not too short to forget the reckless one, Charles, and Kenny Fan TV. Catch you guys later.
Oh.